What's up, folks? It's King, and this is episode number 43 of the Black Ops Road to Commander. And I'm playing solo still, but this commentary is definitely not live. So, I've just watched a video that Hutch put out. I actually posted it a few days ago, but I haven't had a chance to check my YouTube sub box for a while. And he's just married his best friend, so chances of him watching this, slim to none. But just want to say, well done. I'm really pleased for the guy. Obviously, he's had some kind of issues with depression, and I'm really pleased to see he's back. Now, the depression thing I might talk about in another video. I've shared some of the same experiences he did, and I think you guys might like to hear about them. But I thought I'd tell you about my own little tale of marrying my best friend. So I went to a public school. I don't know if you got in the UK. Basically, it's like an old, really ye olde type school that your parents have to pay for in order for you to go. I don't know what the equivalent is in the States or the rest of Europe, but let's just say it's really old-fashioned. And to give you an idea of how old-fashioned, the head boy was permitted to keep a goat and grow a beard. So yeah, now I wasn't head boy, but I was the school monitor, which incidentally meant I could wear funky shirts, grow some sideboards, which I still have to this day, and walk across the grass. Yep, that's right, I could walk across the grass. How special was I? So I was also head of house. Now this is what kind of brings me to my encounter with this girl. I've just started up a 6th. I've just obviously been made head of house, and I'm sat in my office, and there's a knock on the door, a fairly tame knock, and I open the door, and this girl standing there she is beautiful, and she's come to ask for my permission to enter the house. Now, because it was a mixed school, but the houses were same sex, girls had to ask permission to come into boys' houses. So I'm like, yeah, you can come in. At this point, I'm kind of unsure as to how old she is. I know she's new, never seen her before, but she could be like, I knew she was 14, 15 or 16. She wasn't in 6th form, and 14 is the youngest she could be in the upper school. So over the next kind of few weeks and months, this sort of awkward friendship developed, and it was awkward because I wanted to bang her, but it was quite clear she was under 16. So yeah, hands off. Now, at the end of the year, obviously I left school, and we sort of kept in touch, mainly because I was still in Birmingham. I was doing a gap year at a company called KPMG. Now, incidentally, if you ever get a chance to work for KPMG, they are awesome. Take it, rip their arms off, do it. You will not regret it. So I'm still in and around the Birmingham area, and this kind of awkward friendship develops into, I won't say friend zone, I'll say more kind of incestuous big brother zone, because she's now turned 16. We've shared like the occasional drunken kiss, but nothing was ever really going to happen because she was, I'd still say, a bit too young to be doing that, even though she was now 16. Bear in mind, I'm working at KPMG. I'm surrounded by like 35-year-old women, so it's just two completely different types of women. Girl / woman, different cup of tea. So on top of that, she always seems to have a boyfriend, but her parents are always pushing her to go out with me. Now, it was never going to happen at this time, and then after my gap year I went away to university and didn't really see her for 3 years. Now, we kept in touch, but I can remember now the first time we spoke properly once I'd finished university. I'm sat in my friend's office, and the reason I'm there is I've just graduated. I'm just setting up my own business, and he's kind of there for moral support, but he's provided some office space for me. We're bouncing a few ideas around. He'd been running his dad's business for 5 years, so he knew how the business world worked. And she texts me, and she's like, how's things? By the way, this guy is horrible. How I got that kill, I would never know. So she texts me and like, how's things? And I'm like, pretty damn good. I've finished uni. Uni was awesome. I'm just starting my own business. Life is good. I'm excited right now. And she's like, cool, good to hear it. Do you have a girlfriend? And I'm thinking, where's this going? So the answer to that was no. Do you have a boyfriend? She says yes. And she told me who the guy was, and I'm thinking, are you serious? So I can remember the phone call. I actually phoned her up in response to the text message. He said, what are you doing going out with this guy? The guy is a complete bellend. Go out with a decent guy like me. Now, she sort of laughed about it, but we agreed to go out to dinner. I think it was even that night, and dinner was good. Got a little bit too drunk and woke up the next morning in her bed, and I had no idea what had happened. She got up, she went and bought some some breakfast and gave me a fat kiss, and I'm thinking, okay, obviously last night was good times. So for the next few weeks we sort of seeing each other, but in the way that only girls can do. It was unofficial, but soon sorted that out. So this incident happened early winter. It was just starting to get cold, and by Christmas I'm like living in her parents' house. We're a properly loved up couple, and times are good. So another year goes by, and she then has to apply for college, university college, or whatever you want to call it. And she ends up applying to do a law degree at Warwick University, which is where I went. Now, she applied 6 months late and was instantly declined, but I wanted her desperately to go to that uni because that's where I'd set up my business. And obviously I thought, if, you know, I'll be honest, I didn't really want her going elsewhere in the country because I was really happy with the way things were. Might have been a pretty selfish way to look at stuff, but she seemed to want to go there as well. So, you know, it was kind of a mutual thing. So Warwick Business School absolutely loved me. I just graduated, I just set up a business on their enterprise scheme. So I went in and blagged that she had been my brand manager and now wanted to get into contract law and therefore needed a law degree. So they took her on. You know, she wasn't stupid. She had 3 A's, I think 2 A's and a B at A level. However, one was art, which Warwick don't even recognise as an A level, so it was a substantial blag getting her in. But this meant we could then get a place together, and we lived together for 3 years while she got her law degree. Now, sort of halfway through this, we went to Dubai, and we'd kind of talked about getting married, but you know, I never really paid much attention to it. I didn't think the time was right. But when we're there, just kind of the setting of the holiday made me do something kind of momentous. Now, her dad was an old-fashioned kind of guy, and we went out, just the two of us, one night. I can actually remember it. We were watching England versus New Zealand in the Rugby World Cup final, surrounded by New Zealanders, and we got spanked. But we got absolutely hammered, and actually asked for his permission to marry his daughter, and he said yes. I mean, this was immense. But I didn't actually think anything was going to happen about it for some time. However, the next day we are in one of the massive malls in Dubai. I think it was Mall of the Emirates. She sees this ring, which I mean, it was a piece of art. The thing, it was a 3.2 carat diamond. It was huge. In the UK, it probably would have cost me 10 times as much, but it was still, as far as I saw, out of my budget. Now, she disappeared off somewhere to look at handbags, and I then started negotiating with the guy in the jewellery shop, and I'm like, look man, I'm not paying that. And he didn't speak any English, so what we were effectively doing was, he was entering a number in a calculator, giving it to me. I was then cancelling it and entering a different number. Now, I just entered the same number like 10 times, and eventually he's shaking his head. You know, he still wants like a couple of thousand dirhams more than I'm willing to give him, and he is I'm like, that's it now, and I walk out. Bear in mind, I'm wearing flip-flops and shorts. You know, I'm surprised he even took me seriously, you know, but I'm like, that's it, I can't afford it, mate. I'm walking out. Shook his hand, and he's like, no, and then he's like, right, you can have it for this price. So I'm thinking, shit man, I've just bought an engagement ring. Now, as I mentioned, I'm in Hawaiian shorts and flip-flops. Where the hell do I put this damn thing? Because the box is enormous. So I sneak out this shop with the box down the front of my pants, yeah. And obviously, to anyone that saw me for the next sort of 30 seconds, they would have thought I'm packing some serious heat. So I'm like walking conspicuously around this mall, and I managed to find my wife to be's, which hasn't said yes at this point, but obviously that's kind of the point of the story. I found her younger sister and said, look, you need to put this in her bag. So I put the engagement ring in her bag, but her and her other sister, they are like, then they can barely control their excitement at the fact I've bought this ring. Now the plan was to bring it back to the UK, but it didn't quite work out like that. So I've run out of time for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed what's going to be part one of a two-part story. I'll catch you guys in the next one.